take a look at when you have four terms. And so if you're given an equation that has four terms and the terms can't be combined, so they're all of different degrees, what you're likely going to try to do is factor by grouping. Okay, so if you have four terms, what you can look to do when you write them in or as a polynomial, highest degree to lowest, and you group the first pair of terms together and the second pair of terms together. Okay, what common factor can you remove from this first pair of terms? Take out a common factor of x squared. That leaves x plus 1. And then do the same thing with the second pair of terms. So between negative 9x minus 9, you can remove a common factor of minus 9. When you take that out, again, you're taking out the sign, so that's going to leave a positive x, and a negative 9 divided by this negative 9 becomes a plus 1. If you've done this correctly and it's factorable, you should have this common binomial factor here. So you see the common binomial factor of x plus 1, you pull that out, and then the remaining factors of x squared minus 9 form the terms of your other binomial. Okay? And then you can solve each one in the same way. Again, here, x plus 1, the x squared minus 9 is a perfect, or it's the difference of squares, so it can factor into the sum and difference of terms. Once you have linear factors, you can set them all equal to 0, so negative 1, and negative 3, positive 3, and so those would be your solutions. Okay, so try this second example here on your own. Please see if you can solve for the without using a calculator. Okay, so if you recognize a couple things here. So first, if you recognize you have these four terms of different degrees, okay, so you might want to remove any common factors. Now, if you wanted to, you might want to factor by grouping. And now, it is possible if you see the first thing that you would like to check and see is, are there any common factors you can remove? That's always the first step. So ideally, in this one, you remove a common factor of x first, but let's say you didn't. Okay, let's say that's not what you saw. You saw the rule, you have four terms, okay, of different degrees, so I'm going to factor by grouping. What common factor can you remove from this first pair of terms? 3x cubed. That leaves an x and a plus 3. And then in the second pair of terms, you can remove negative 6x, and that leaves a x. The minus comes out, plus 3. So here would be your grouped factors. So I have this common binomial factor, x plus 3, and I leave 3x cubed minus 6x. Okay, so when you are looking at that, what you should be able to see right here is you're trying to get these into linear factors if you can. Okay, so I have my x plus 3, so I can look at this binomial here, and I have a common factor of 3 and x that I can remove, so I'm going to do that. That leaves an x squared here and a minus 2. Now, once I get to this, it's not a linear factor, but it can't be reduced to any further from here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use my zero product rule for each of these. A 0 associated with that monomial factor. This binomial factor 0 is negative 3. And then this one I can solve x squared minus 2 is equal to 0. And when I do solve that equation, I add 2 to both sides, extract the square root, taking into consideration the positive and negative root. Okay, and so these would be my 4 solutions for this problem. So this next set of equations, again, these are all values that you can use the solve feature on your calculator. So F2 algebra tab, select solve, type in the equations as they appear. And when you do, you get your solutions. Again, here we have 3 solutions, negative 3, negative 1, and 3, based on that.